Now, this is currently where I'm living. Now, it's a bit of a weird house because it's actually got a small chalet on the left and a small chalet on the right, and they've both been connected to form one house. And there's some things in this place which you just don't see in houses in England. So as you walk in, you've got this door in front of you. And this is something you don't see very often. It's got a shower with no toilet in the room. Some very nice sinkageness going on with some like solid granite shelves, which have all been curved. I like that sort of thing. And then terracotta tiles. This, which is made out of glass, but then it's got some sort of like granite pattern put on it, which is pretty nice. And then in France and Switzerland, they love these sort of windows where you can go like that, turn it that way. Then you can also open it there. And then you've got very, very legit old beams everywhere, which I'm not sure about you, but I love that sort of thing. They've also gone to absolute town for all bespoke metal hinges and things. In fact, I've noticed that somewhere else. Where was it? Oh yeah, here. All of the staircase here has all been made. Yeah, you just don't see this sort of stuff for sale. But we'll get onto the basement and the upstairs in a minute. But first, back to the entrance, because as I was saying, there's no toilet in there, but there is a toilet in here with what I'd say is probably the original barn wall, because like I was saying, you're in between two buildings here. So one building here, and then from this point onwards, we're now entering the second building. Now, I've been looking a lot for a place in either France or Switzerland. Now, Switzerland, that's a bit of a madness, trying to find places that don't cost an absolute fortune. But France, on the other hand, these sort of old barn buildings, you can get some that are very small square meters. Like this is probably 5 meters by probably 4 meters there, which on their own would be quite a small dwelling. But sometimes you can see 2 or 3 of them come up for sale. And then this sort of setup allows you to then combine the two together. And it makes what would be just some small little dwellings actually into a pretty decent sized chalet. So yeah, if I didn't give you a very good look at that, it's got probably one of the smallest sinks ever, which is very nice. Again, granite that's then been shaped here. So instead of it being really angled, it's all curved. And then you've got probably the original wall of the barn, because if anything, maybe one of these originally was an actual house where people lived in, but usually in this sort of area where there's a lot of farmers and whatnot, this probably was used for like livestock or storing hay. It's given me lots of ideas of maybe just looking for like a small load of little huts together and then combining them all. It's also got a spotlight system that I've never seen. You see there, they've got 2 cables running with all the lights on it. I've never really seen that sort of thing again, but yeah, it works really well here. Also like how they've done sort of stone pattern like that as well. And then this room is the kitchen. You've got a really decent size dining room table, got your sink with one of these sort of taps, which, yeah, don't really use that because if you want to do your washing up, you just put it in the dishwasher. Oven, very weird hot point thing here because obviously you've got electric and then you've also got gas here, which I'm not really sure why you do that unless you're worried about the power going out, and then you can still cook. You got your microwave there, very nice spotlights everywhere, and then this was built in 2020, but obviously it's a lot older than that. This room here, pretty boring, but it's basically just got a washing machine, and then this, which I still don't really understand what it is. Maybe it's for drying clothes originally. Nah, no way that's for drying clothes. When you're renovating an old house, you sometimes find weird things, and I found something like this with a pulley mechanism, and it was for drying clothes in that instance, but this looks a bit different, and I don't really understand what the chute is for. But if you know what this is for, please let me know in the comments, because I don't have a clue. If you want more light on, there you go, you can see what it looks like there. Anything else that's interesting about this room? You got a massive fridge with nothing in it, and freezer, a lot more super nice granite slabs absolutely everywhere. They really spent a lot of money renovating this place. And then you might be wondering, what's that doing? Well, if we run up here and you don't get completely distracted by the scariest thing I've ever seen. When I moved in here, I was walking down and I was just like, oh, there's no railing. And I kind of grabbed here, and that, if you can see there, is actually a razor sharp blade. And I think it's for chopping some stuff. I'm not really sure what you're chopping. Again, if you know what that is, please let me know, because I haven't got a clue. But you've got a super nice double bedroom up here with some weird things. So the first thing I really like is glassage. I like that sort of stuff. I think it looks really nice. And then if I turn some lights on, this is something that I've actually noticed in France and Switzerland. They don't really do spotlights in bedrooms. They always seem to have little wall lights. So again there, which gets turned on by this one here. And at first I was like, oh, this is a bit different to what we do in England. But then I started being like, actually, why do we always seem to put spotlights absolutely everywhere in England? And this provides enough light to happily move around at night. And during the day, you've got so many skylights and windows that, again, you just don't seem to find yourself turning lights on as much. So it's kind of reshaped my thinking on sort of lighting in England. As I mentioned, I am looking for a project in mainly Switzerland, but now that I'm in Chamonix, I've obviously started looking around here, and the prices seem to be significantly cheaper than Switzerland. And now that I've got a Swiss passport, that is allowing me to then get into other areas in Europe, which, yeah, there's quite a lot of stuff on that. And if you want me to do a video on that, I can do. It might be boring for some of you, but like I said, I've got that project going on. And then I also have got a project coming up in England in probably a couple of months. So that one's going to be very interesting. And this sort of thing has sort of shaped how I want to do that project in particular. I haven't actually ever pressed this button here. Nice. And then something that you don't see very often at all is a bath right next to a bed. And yeah, it is a little bit weird. It hasn't actually been used yet, but I did once just get in it, and you could just lie here and then just stare at the mountain, which is pretty top 5. And then you've got this, which is one of the coolest sinks I've ever seen. It's like all carved out of some sort of marble, and then all the cracks in it and all the fault lines have been filled so it doesn't leak. So yeah, I love that. You've got quite a small radiator there to hang your towels and whatnot. And then this, which is a bit weird, you've got a toilet with one of the strangest doors ever. Now, that is probably part of 90 kilograms, so it gets left like that a lot. But yeah, you got a toilet right next to your bed and your bath. Bit odd, something that you don't see very often. And then you've got a small little table area where you can do your work and whatever. And then getting on to probably my favourite part of the house, which is just down here. You have this sort of setup for a living room. Now, this bench is super uncomfortable, and I'm still not sure why they didn't make a proper like living area instead of just kind of like chucking a bench and then 3 single seats with little footstool things that can slide out, and then one that's just in the corner over there. Not really sure why they did that, but I mean, I'm not really complaining. It is such a nice place to be. I also love all of these granite flagstones with then granite steps, which, I mean, that one is just a single block, which has been super smoothed down because obviously wherever they had got this from, that's been walked over 1,000,001 times. I also like how they've done all of these little weird lighting features everywhere. And then up in the beams, they've just drilled single holes and then put little LEDs in it. Very weird living room setup. As I was mentioning earlier, they really went to town with this staircase and all of the hinges and metalwork in this place. Like, this must have cost an absolute fortune to get made. And then I really like how they've used metal in some places and then also used glass. So they've got a glass section there. And this sort of pattern, which again is something that I haven't really seen before. And then all of that is glass. And and then the top bit's just metal. This is also a super unique staircase. Haven't really seen one like this before, where you basically got half of a tree supporting all of the steps as you run up. And I think the steps are actually just the offcuts from the floorboards when they were making it. But yeah, another really nice double bedroom. Got 2 really small windows there, skylight up there, and then another 2 windows here. It's definitely given me a lot of inspiration living here. This though, I just don't understand this, but hey ho. And then you've got a door stopper there, which obviously, because it's built basically into the old barn, they can't just have a normal stopper on the floor. You wouldn't have it there anyway because you've got a staircase. That actually works really well. I've also seen they've gone really basic with curtain rails. Like that is genuinely just copper pipe, some cheap little bracket. Now, this is one of my favourite rooms in the house. It is another double bedroom. But that is a full-size double bed with then a sofa, which is also a double bed. Then you've got all your cupboardage area, massive TV, and then spotlights. I love all of this wood cladding. I think it looks so nice. I really do. And then also for just feature walls, like it is all just tongue and grooved into each other. It's so simple to do, but it looks so smart. And then here you've got a light well. So there's like a grid out there, and then all that light's coming down to this section. And then here you've got another nice set of windows. But yeah, I really like all the like granite and stone they use, and old reclaimed wood. I mean, look at the size of the flagstones. Insane. And then if I put my shoes on, I'll quickly go and show you the sort of outside area. Oh, almost smashed. The oven, pretty unbelievable to be honest. It's got this, which is probably the weirdest building I've ever seen, which is made up of really random things. Like that's obviously an old saw blade. But I don't really know why this even exists. And then you got this, which is probably the best part of 300 kilograms of granite used as a step. So as you can see here, this is going into that living room area. And then you can see pretty clearly here actually, the old barn and then the stone habitable bit, and obviously stone's more money, so I'm guessing the house, and then this was the barn with all the animals and whatnot in it, and then this is the infill between the two. And then they've even cut out the wood here, and then that's the glass going into the bathroom behind, which creates quite a cool effect. And then over here, as you can see, got your barbecue, your table, and then that's the sort of view I've got going on. Oh yeah, I was wondering if any of you lot know what these things are. They're kind of corkscrewed on the end here, and then this, I'd imagine they had wooden poles going into it so it can all be spun somehow on some sort of machine, maybe a press or something, but I've never seen anything like that. What else can I show you? Oh yeah, you've got some nice stone steps under the snow going down to a 2-car parking bay. And I mean, if you look here, you can kind of see the construction of this raised terrace area. I mean, that rock there alone must be like, I don't know, 5 tons or something. Oh yeah, I've just noticed that that is all just one solid stone as well. Thanks for watching. Like this video if you've enjoyed it, and subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video in a bit.